Chapter 1. What is the blockchain? For many people, trying to learn about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology can elicit feelings of confusion, apprehension, or perhaps just simple boredom. Developing a sophisticated understanding of how this nascent technology works takes a lot of time and effort. Fortunately, however, the basics can actually be understood easily when explained in simple terms, even for people who have little prior knowledge of computers or the tech industry. Why is it called blockchain? The easiest place to start with blockchain is probably just with the name itself. Why blockchain? Well, as you likely deduced already, a blockchain is simply a collection of blocks that are linked together. What's important to understand is that each block contains information, and that information cannot be changed once it is validated and added to the blockchain. The only way that a blockchain changes is by adding new blocks to the end of it. So a blockchain is a digital ledger of information that can be appended but not changed retroactively. A digital chalkboard that grows to accommodate more writing but is never erased. On its own, that description probably doesn't seem particularly special or interesting. But when you add one word, suddenly digital ledgers become revolutionary. That word is distributed. And so the phrase that most succinctly describes the essence of blockchain is distributed digital ledger. Why does adding the word distributed make such a big difference? Because when you enable identical copies of the ledger to be stored simultaneously around the globe by anybody who wishes to do so, you achieve something called decentralization. Centralized versus decentralized systems. What do I mean by decentralization? Let's start with what we're familiar with, centralized systems. These are traditional systems such as governments, banks, and corporations. They are institutions in which the power to make decisions is concentrated in a small percentage of the population, which those decisions might affect. Or in database terms, centralized systems are those in which the information in the system is stored and maintained in a single location. Blockchain enables a different type of system, in which decision-making power is not concentrated to a tiny fraction of the affected population. In a decentralized system, there isn't any individual or group that can decide who is allowed to participate or not. Instead of data centers full of servers that store information, the information is stored across tens, hundreds, or even thousands of individual participants called nodes. One important result of decentralization is that it eliminates a problem that centralized systems have, which is single points of failure. If a corporation's primary data center is destroyed or otherwise compromised, the effects of that failure can be severe for the corporation and its consumer base. If the leaders of a government are incompetent or malicious, they can make decisions with negative repercussions for all citizens. By distributing the information or power of the system, decentralized systems no longer have single points of failure. In this way, blockchain creates far more secure systems than were possible with previous technology. How it works. There's one more thing about blockchain that you should know before we move on. That is, how do blocks get added to the end of the chain? The key word here, at least in the case of decentralized blockchains, is incentives. A decentralized network can't exist without multiple separate nodes. The more nodes there are, the stronger the network. That being said, the majority of the nodes need to be honest in order to maintain the security of the network. The original cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, uses incentives to encourage people to run nodes and to make sure that they do not have malicious intent. The Bitcoin network encourages participation by giving rewards to whichever node successfully adds a verified block to the end of the blockchain. In other words, nodes process and distribute information through the network because they have a chance to profit by doing so.